Hello everyone, I've got a new team for you today that's basically pulled me out of a bit of a death slide. My gimmick team that I was running was double powder snow and it worked very nicely, and then I kind of hit a point where it stopped working. I can only assume the meta shifted enough that now snow is not really destroying everybody, so yeah, I crashed and burned a bit. So in an attempt to pull myself out of death slide, I tried a bunch of different things, and they've also been train wrecks. Obstagoon and Bishop, I tried an Open Ultra, and it didn't work. So I've come back to the team that I wanted to try. I've been meaning to bring Drifblim out to play since I got a shiny at Halloween, and I thought, well, why not try it now? I figured it'd probably work quite well with Snorlax, because there's some quite good synergy between Ghost and normal types on the same team. And in the back, we've got our Alolan Ninetales, again with Powder Snow, Weather Ball and Psyshock. I'm really starting to like Alolan Ninetales. I mean, it's very expensive because you do need to be able to XL it. And as you can see in both my XLs, I don't have enough candies, so they're not maxed. But I really like the resistance spread. Ice and Fairy complement each other fairly well. I mean, for starters, you're not vulnerable to fighting, which is a big plus in my book. And also, you're single vulnerable to fire, which means you do actually have a chance against Charizard, and doubly so if it's got Dragon Breath, which is actually getting more common. You double resist Dragon Breath, so anything reliant on Dragon Breath, you do very well against. And in particular, I'm sure you've run into quite a few Empoleon double dragon teams with Kingdra and Dragonite. And, well, the Alolan Ninetales just can't handle the steel, but it can make a mess of the other two. So you've got quite a powerful answer to that. And in the back, we've got our Shadow Snorlax, which does me very well indeed. I find it's actually quite a strong choice. It's got very good bulk, it's got good strong stats, and that Shadow bonus, just enough to tip it over the edge of hitting just that bit harder. It means you've got a bit more chance to lick down things. It means the body slam just puts a little bit more pressure on them to shield. So it makes a great safe swap, and it does very well in sort of zero shield scenarios as well. So with that in mind, I'm just going to hop into some matches and we can see how they play out. I've got a few more this time because I've been doing this over a couple of days. So hopefully I'll be able to showcase you some interesting compositions here. First up, we've got Drifblim leading into Excadrill. Solid lead for us. Excadrill can of course rock slide us, but Icy Wind hits for neutral because the ground and the steel cancelling out, and the ground damage doesn't do any harm at all. So we're just going to carry on and build up some energy here, and I find normally people don't anticipate a Shadow Ball off the first move, so they don't shield it, and that happens. Obviously you don't want to throw Shadow Balls into a Snorlax, but actually quite often, or actually if it's something that Ice will be super effective against, then you probably want to throw the Ice. But more often than not, you want to Shadow Ball it because they will be anticipating the Ice move. Now here's a Fire, so I'm going to assume they're not anticipating the Ice move. Well, never mind, they don't shield. Blaziken is a bit of an odd one here, because obviously the fire damage hits for neutral, and it does some damage, but the counter damage does get super resisted by the ghost type. So we are just going to go straight into Shadow Ball again, and take out the Blaziken. This is a blazingly good starting set, isn't it? We've got almost going to be able to go for a full team sweep there, Drifblim, because the ghost typing will also do very nasty things to the Gallade in the back. But they are going to farm us down with Confusion. But we're also going to get another Icy Wind out. So now we've got 2 stacked debuffs on the Gallade, and we've taken the shield off them. Now we're down a shield, but we do still have 2 full health Pokemon. They can close combat now and debuff themselves, which they do, and it hurts obviously because Snorlax does take some pain, and we go for a switch because they can probably throw another close combat, and we don't want them to double tap us. And now this is where the advantage of Alolan Ninetales comes in, because obviously the close combat isn't super effective. The Leaf Blade's debuffed, and we can just finish it off. You wouldn't be able to do that on Bomb Slow, the close combat would be too much of a threat. Particularly this team with the Snorlax. Obviously you don't want 2 things vulnerable to fighting. Next up we come into Drifblim lead into a Swampert. Now, solid start. It does depend a little bit on... Actually no, it doesn't, because both Earthquake and Sludge Wave you resist. You just resist Earthquake even harder. Ghost being resistant to poison is one of the things that some people seem to forget. It's quite handy, when you can't find a Toxicroak, for example, because you resist everything that can throw. And in the case for Swampert, obviously. But the Hydro Cannon is still pretty threatening, so there's no point using anything other than Hydro Cannon here. So this is what we're anticipating, incoming Hydro Cannon. And as you can see, it's taking a big chunk off us. So we're hoping to stick another Icy Wind on them. This will get the shield off them, or they'll go down. Either good for me. Okay, we've got the shield. So now we've debuffed them a bit. We're a bit of a dangerous territory. I don't think the Hydro Cannon is quite enough to take us out because we've debuffed them. But it's going to be close, and we really don't want to be on low health. They're clearly staying in here, and I thought we might get them farmed down, but no. Well, that answers the question. Hydro Cannon doesn't quite take us out, and we don't quite get the Icy Wind off against the Kingdra. Still, we now got alignment to bring in the Ninetales here, and this is what I was saying a little bit earlier. Ninetales versus Kingdra is quite an unfair fight because we double resist their dragon. Their Octazooka still hits us for neutral, but if we're really lucky, they're going to go for an outrage and not realise. No, Octazooka. Octazooka didn't debuff, so I'm going to stay in. If it did further debuff, I'd probably switch to the Snorlax to clear that. I don't like fighting with two stages attack debuff. And now we can just farm down the Kingdra. Yep, there we go. And what have they got in back? It's a Gengar. Okay, so that's why they're holding onto the shield, but we do have a psychic move that will take it out in one hit. Obviously up comes the shield. It doesn't matter at this point though, because Snorlax is really quite unfriendly to Gengar. So we're staying in to convince him to throw their energy, just on the off chance they've got something like Focus Blast, or because a Sludge Bomb won't take us out, but Focus Blast will. I think they've built up to maybe Sludge Bomb here? Yes. See, Snorlax can tank it. Obviously your charge moves don't do anything to Gengar, but there's not a lot they can do otherwise. You completely wall their ghost moves. And obviously you hit super effective with a lick against something squishy like Gengar. It's great. Right, so it's another good solid lead that goes quickly into Charizard. And actually we're going to stay in here because we want to keep that Charizard away from our Alolan Ninetales. We're going to go for an Icy Wind. This will hit it for neutral and potentially debuff it. There we go. Lovely. And are they going to go for Blast Burn or Dragon Claw? Well, we'll call it as a Blast Burn, and we'll... yeah, excellent, good. A debuff Dragon Claw doesn't actually hit too hard, because they don't have the stab there. And Dragon Claw isn't that powerful move, it's just decent and fast. And Dragonites have monstrous attack stats normally. And we've got another Icy Wind, so we're going to be able to finish them off, or get that shield off them. Shield it is, excellent. Right, so they're down to no shields. Oh, now this is a bit of a gamble. Again, I'm going to assume it's a Blast Burn because, yep, there we go. I'm not quite sure how debuffed it is at this point, so I'm not actually sure if it's that would be enough to take it out. In comes the little Gribbly fighter type, and the fact they've brought that back in against the Drifblim says to me that they haven't got any good answers to Drifblim in the back. So we're still going to stay in. We're going to throw a Shadow Ball, and I think maybe switch out, or just see how it goes. Okay, they're staying in. So what have they got? Aerial Ace. Doesn't quite do enough damage. I don't know what they have at the back. I can only assume it's a fighter or something like a Toxicroak. Well, either way, Drifblim seems to have just swept that whole team. It's always a treat. Togekiss lead. It's a nice solid one. We can actually take Togekiss on with all of our team quite merrily. So we're just going to start with the Icy Wind because obviously that hits were super effective and should be putting a bit of pressure on them to shield. They don't, but it takes a big chunk off. Excellent. So we're going to farm down a little bit and see as that charm damage is really starting to add up. We overcharge the next Icy Wind just to get us a bit of energy lead for the next one, because now we can get shield for sure, or in comes A-Muk. So this is a dark type versus a ghost type. That's bad for us, but we can Icy Wind and switch, so that's not too bad. If we go into our Alolan Ninetales, we can hit it quite hard with Weather Balls. We do have to watch out for Sludge Waves, but you don't really have to worry too much about bait because there's no point in throwing a Dark Pulse. The cost's almost the same and you resist Dark Pulse, so the only time you'll ever see them do that is when they're in really low health and they're not going to get off a Sludge Wave. So we're just going to shield everything they throw at us because it will almost one hit us, but Weather Ball them all the way down. In comes Togekiss again. So again, I wouldn't have done that because I don't think Togekiss has got a good play against an ice type. So that says to me that they've got something weak to ice in the back, and I guess we don't get to find out what that is. I'm going to guess a Dragonite. Let's pretend it was. I'm having a good run with this team, I think in no small part because people have made Dragonite popular, so thank you to all the content creators who are showing us how awesome Dragonite can be. Right, so let's hop on to another match. See the spawns in the background? Yeah. Can you guess where I live from that map? No, didn't think so. Right, Machamp. Drifblim triple resist fighting, so actually this is good for us. However, we do have to watch out for this Rock Slide still, because Machamp's got a really high attack stat and Rock Slides hurt. So go for an Icy Wind to drop that down. It's not a Shadow Machamp, so this isn't going to hurt quite as much as it would, but we're also going to shield it, because a super effective... cross-shot bait, yikes. Okay, well still, we're going to get another Icy Wind off, that's fine. In no small part, we want to keep the Machamp away from our backline anyway, so that's okay if they want to stay in. In comes Empoleon. Icy Wind is double resisted by Empoleon, so we're just going to move straight into Shadow Balls. Kablam! Right, goodbye. And again, we want to stay in here, but maybe go for Snorlax to catch the charge move. Snorlax, even with Shadow, is still very bulky, so the incoming Hydro Cannon, as you can see, does some, but it's not disastrous, and we should be able to lick this all the way down. No, not quite. We can take this one. It's going to leave us low health, but that means we keep the shield. So there we go. Finish off, licky lick. And we've got the move loaded for when that Machamp comes back in. Oh, it's Charizard. Oh well, still. We're going for a Body Slam at the Charizard and get some health of it. Okay, so goodbye Charizard. Now a bit of a sticky position because Charizard is still very good against the Alolan Ninetales, but Machamp, we've got a reasonable matchup against. Obviously, we've got the Fairy typing to make our fighting resistance. I'm going to shield the Rock Slide here, because now we can farm that. Oh, a payback even. Okay, fair enough. Even better. That would hurt even more. And in comes the Charizard, and a Blast Burn? Ooh, Dragon Claw might still take us out either way. Yeah, okay, so Dragon Claw finishes off, but now Ninetales can come in. It's taking damage, high damage from the Fire Spins, but they do have to get to a Blast Burn to finish the job. So we're just going to weather ball them down. And are they going to get to the Blast Burn? Yes, I think they are. Oh well, so it goes. But it was close. I mean, we weren't far off that second weather ball that would have taken them down. So, you know, with energy going away, the Alolan Ninetales versus Charizard matchup isn't nearly as bad as it looks. Drifblim versus Togekiss again. Oh, okay, so I guess we're going to guess that they might have a Dragonite in the back. Oh, a Swampert. Well, they've got Swampert there. Right. Hang on a minute. Well, that was only 2 mode shots. What's going on here? Okay, this seems sus, but still, let's roll with it. Icy Wind going through. Debuff the Swampert. I think we can go for another one. Switch to catch the next Hydro Cannon, which is now debuffed slightly, so that's good. And Snorlax can now nibble away at the Swampert with its reduced damage. It's still going to hurt, it's still going to add up, but the Snorlax has the bulk to not really need to shield it. Okay, so now they're going to need to shield or risk going down. Don't know if Body Slam will quite take them out, but they'll come close. Yeah, so we can finish them off with Lick. Excellent. So this is the joy of the Shadow Snorlax actually. It's a little bit better at taking things down with Lick, which means you got a little bit more chance to get that energy lead. It's a thing you don't really see on PV Poke or in simulations, because obviously it's a secondary thing, but it does add up somewhat. So Blaziken comes in, and we've got a good matchup against Blaziken with our Drifblim, so that's who we bring in. I'm going to throw the Ice, because that debuffs them, and they're almost out of health. Okay, so Togekiss comes back in, and we want to keep the Ninetales away from the Blaziken, because we don't like fire, so we're just going to stay here and shield and Ancient Power. Kablam. Right, okay, that's good. Ancient Power boost. Don't know about you, but I find that frustrating because I think that we've gone from a solid win here to now losing, because that's now going to shred straight through us with the shield, with unblockable charms, and that will be that. Yeah. And I don't know if we'll get to an Icy Wind on the Drifblim either, maybe? No. Oh well, never mind. I think I'm going to pretend I won that one, because I would have done without the Ancient Power boost. I find it kind of frustrating actually. Ancient Power is one of those moves that's just terrible all the time, apart from the 10% of the chances where it ruins the match. Still, let's move on. Drifblim into Magnezone. So this is bad news for our team. Magnezone is quite vicious against the Alolan Ninetales, and it's quite vicious against the Drifblim. So we're going to bring our Snorlax in. We're going to hope we can take on the Magnezone with an energy lead, and that way we've at least got a chance of surviving the spam of probably Metal Shots, which is double super effective against Drifblim. Against Ninetales, which is a big problem for us. Or, of course, the Wild Charges, which will really wreck our Flying Ghosts. Anyway, so Body Slamming down on the Venusaur. Got the shield, excellent. And we're not going to be able to quite lick it all the way down. But I think if we shield here, we can get a switch advantage off them. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to shield on stupidly low health and pressure them all the way down with licks. There we go. So, Body Slam on the Charizard coming in. That's okay, we like seeing Charizard. Because now we're going to bring in our Ninetales and go head to head with the Charizard. I think. Yeah. So this is a bit of a crazy play, going against a Fire type with an Ice type. But because it's a Fire Flying, the weather balls do actually add up quite quickly. And if we're really lucky, they'll throw a Dragon Claw at us. So we're just going to Bareface, not Shield, and gamble that they went Dragon Claw and not Blast Burn. Oops. Still, in comes Magnezone, and it's got no shields left. So Shadow Ball should be able to take it a long way down, and we have a shield for the Wild Charge. We just have to correctly call when they throw a Wild Charge. Now, we've hit them really hard there, and so I'm going to anticipate they're not going to gamble on building up 2. So it's Wild Charge. Right, so we shield the Wild Charge, we farm them down, and in comes the Charizard, and I think the Icy Wind should be able to take it out. I'm going to feel daft if I'm wrong, but still. Yeah, goodbye. The thing I'm liking about Drifblim is Icy Wind is really quite good at changing matchups in ways your opponents may not be entirely familiar with. So, you know, a match that they would win quite reliably, now they don't, and that kind of thing. Landing Icy Wind on things just changes the dynamics of the game. Right, so Swampert, start with an Icy Wind. Get it off before their first Hydro Cannon, so that's good. I'm going to anticipate a Hydro Cannon here because it's a sensible play. Incoming Hydro Cannon. Right, jolly good. And they've gone for back-to-back. So we're going to shield the second one. I think that'll take us down a bit too far. And we're just going to go for an Icy Wind in return. I'll try just a little bit, just to make them think there might be a Shadow Ball coming, but no, they're going to stick with it. Now, at this point we can choose to go down 2 shields or stay in, and they're doing double debuffed, so there we go, we can survive the Hydro Cannon. 2 Hydro Cannons. I'm going to shield this one because I've got an Energy loaded and don't want them to take us out. And this way we win the lead, but we've gone down 2 shields. I'm not overly happy about that, I don't think, but still, we do have 2 Icy Winds loaded, and Charizard can't really entirely ignore them. So, we're going to go for Icy Wind, then a Shadow Ball, and hopefully they'll let one through. Boing! Right, excellent. So they've got the shield, we've got the shield down, so we're now not so far behind. In comes the Snorlax for Blaziken. Alright, so double fires, and this is trouble. So we've got a Psyshock here, but they're going to shield it, because they'd be daft not to. Yeah, and I don't think we're going to get to another one, because they're going to get to a Blaze Kick in plenty of time. So taking that out. Snorlax does have a chance still, but it's not looking too good. Okay, that was faster than anticipating, I have to say. Still, it probably was going to end that way either way. Having an Ice type in the back with a double fire team is not ending well, usually, is it? Okay, Drifblim into Venusaur. This is good for us. We resist everything they've got to throw. So, Drifblim versus Drifblim. I probably should switch into Snorlax at this point, but I figured the Weather Ball was, you know, actually quite a solid choice because it hits super effective against the flying, and obviously the Icy Wind is going to be resisted. So we're going to assume they're not going to be daft enough to use an Icy Wind. Oh no, we're just going to let the Shadow Ball land. Sorry. Still, they haven't, because they didn't shield. We can farm them all the way down. So now we've got an energy lead, and it's an Obstagoon. Obstagoon isn't too bad here because we do resist their Night Slashes, which is the real nuisance, and their counters are only neutral. So we can throw Weather Balls at them and get some decent chip damage from them. Again, this is a place where a Bomber Snow would just not work. We'd get wrecked. But now we're in a bit of an awkward position because it's got play against both of our back line. I'm not quite sure why they switched to Venusaur here to go against Drifblim, because the same thing I said at the lead was true. Venusaur doesn't do very well against flying ghosts. Still, let's roll with it. I don't think there's anything I can throw that really even bothers us too much, so actually maybe they're anticipating something else in the back. I mean, I suppose if the Snorlax match up with the Obstagoon, I guess they're anticipating something that's even worse for a Venusaur, perhaps. Still, farm down, and now we'll get a bit of energy lead, counting that moves, just to make sure we've got space. And now we're just going to throw some Icy Wind on the floor, and they're shielded. So I didn't anticipate the shield there, but I didn't actually want them to take me down. I didn't want to finish them off, which is why I undercharged. I wanted to be able to farm them all the way down. Okay, so double shield the Night Slashes, which would sort of one-shot us at this point, enough to get an Icy Wind off. Now, this might seem a bit of a waste, because obviously we're now going to go down to the next Night Slash, but we have taken a chunk of their health off, and now they're not going to be in danger, well, they're not going to be in danger of taking a Snorlax out, really, because they've only got Night Slash. If they had Cross Drop, it might have hurt a bit more. Actually, we're going to go for a very, very greedy farm down, because I'm just kind of assuming that they would have used Cross Drop if they had it, and sure enough, another Night Slash, so we can actually lick this all the way down, but Body Slam ready. Venusaur, yuck. Still, we might still be able to recover this. Icy Wind. Throw that on the floor. No, change my mind. Take it out. And I'm going to take the Obstagoon. Oh, taking out something that triple resists Ghost with Hex. That was close. Next up, Drifblim into Charizard. So it's a Dragon Breath Charizard though, that's an important one to remember, because it means our matchup with the Alolan Ninetales is actually quite good. We double resist the fast move, we double resist their cheap bait charge move, and we only have to watch out for the blast burns that will one-shot us. So having thrown our Shadow Ball, we're now going to let whatever they throw land, and as you can see, Dragon Claw doesn't do too much harm. We move into the Snorlax. In comes a Porygon 2. Porygon 2 with a lock-on is so spammy with Tri-Attack, but we've got a licky Snorlax to throw Body Slams back, and Porygon 2 is pretty squishy, even with its slightly better stats for Ultra League. Porygon 2 got Tri-Attack in the last patch update, and it's got a bit more bulk than Porygon Z, so it does actually do a little bit better in this league, but it's still pretty squishy. It's just not as squishy. And yes, that is a Z. Incoming Tri-Attack. I'm not sure if we'll get to another Body Slam in time, but I think we will. We can afford to, you know, let the lock-on just ride, because lock-on down farming a Snorlax doesn't end well. And I think they're going to get to another move, but that's okay, their health's really low now. We could probably bring in the Drifblim to farm down, but I think a Ninetales is probably a better bet. It does a little bit more damage with the Powder Snow, because obviously it's not double resisted. In comes Empoleon. This is one of the things our team has a headache with, so we go straight into the Drifblim. And I'm rather afraid they're about to take us out with that. Charizard. Oh, nice switch, nice switch. We're going to have to call that as a Dragon Claw. And sure enough it is, so we now actually have in with a slight chance, but I don't think we can take down an Empoleon here. Well, let's see. Let's see. Weather Ball, Psyshock. We do have the shield lead, but they're hitting us in neutral and they double resist ice. So I think we're going to lose here. But let's play it out anyway, let's see what happens. Yeah, double Hydro Cannons. I miscounted, I didn't think they had two loaded still. Psyshock coming through, yeah. Might be able to get to another one, but I think they're going to get that Hydro Cannon comfortably before we do. Yeah. So yes, that one more Psyshock. If they'd had no shields, we might have won. But obviously, not this time. Empoleon versus that Ninetales is just a bad matchup for us. Okay. Snorlax lead. This is an interesting one because they hit super effective with their charge move, so their fast move, but we resist both of their charge moves. So we're just going to go the Snorlax face off. And the interesting thing here is because one of us brought a shadow, they're effectively both shadows. Each of us is doing 20% boosted damage to the other. They go for the Superpower switch, which is a sensible play because I'm switch locked and I can't do the same in return. However, I do have body slams for this Venusaur, so slammy slam, slammy slam. I'm going to let the Snorlax go down and just try and get some shield pressure in. And actually I'm into the chance of licking them all the way down. So at this point I'm going to throw a shield and just farm them down for energy. That way I win the switch and I get a bit of an energy lead. Red on the Snorlax is still quite a lot of health by anyone else's standards, so it's not as crazy as it sounds. Right, so Kingdra in the back, that's good. We like Kingdras because Ninetales eats those. Body Slam takes up a chunk. The thing we have to watch out for is getting debuffed by that Octazooka. So we're just going to let this land because Octazooka doesn't hit too hard, and Outrage, we double resist. I think they regretted that decision. Right, so Snorlax. Interesting thing with the Alolan Ninetales is actually going head to head with Snorlax is not as bad as it looks, because you have that faster energy gain and you have a move that's effectively the same as a Body Slam. So you're actually hitting them slightly harder and slightly faster, and that often that comes close. It's very IV dependent and energy leader dependent, but you can Body Slam them as faster than they can Body Slam you, in effect. So it does add up, and you do end up in a situation like this where obviously we've nearly taken out Snorlax. We could shield here and try and do that again and get down a little bit further. And they've gone for the Kingdra, so we go quickly switch to the Drifblim, because at this point we can now Icy Wind the Drifblim to finish it off, and hopefully be able to finish off the Snorlax with Icy Wind. Got enough health left that I don't think the lick damage is going to help. I don't know, that might be close actually. They might be able to lick us all the way down, but we'd have got to 2 Icy Winds I think, so yes, good game. So here's an Empoleon. We don't like Empoleons, they make our team very sad. So we're just going to go straight into Shadow Ball because Icy Wind is a little bit pointless here. We have to shield against them because we can't afford to let them take us out. Hydro Cannon does still hurt quite reliably. No risk of bait here though, so that's something. So we're going to come close to being able to take them all the way down, but I don't think we're going to quite manage it. So at this point we're going to switch to catch the charge move. I didn't really want to waste the energy for the Shadow Ball because obviously their health's really low, they probably weren't going to shield. So we go for the Snorlax to switch, and out comes the Blaziken. That's actually great. We can hit it with a Body Slam, that's going to do some good damage, and more importantly keeps us away from the Ninetales, which is what we like. So Blaziken's now farmed us down, but now it comes in to play against the Drifblim. Going to have to shield here because Blaziken is going to sting, and in return we can throw an Icy Wind. In fact, if we can probably do Icy Wind then a Shadow Ball straight after, and that's even better. So got the shield, no, but did debuff them, so are we going to survive this Blaze Kick? Just about. Excellent. So surviving the Blaze Kick means we can Shadow Ball them. They've got no shields left. Kablam! Empoleon comes back in, and as I said, the matchup between Ninetales and Empoleon is not great. But they go for an Exeggcutor, which is okay, we like that, we're good with that, because that means we can now farm it with the ice, get to nearly 2 Weather Balls, and then back to back it. And Weather Ball doesn't hit very hard, but it is going to be not quite taking out the Empoleon. Okay, they didn't fire, that's good. Okay, so I think we'd still have won that one if they had Hydro Cannoned us, but it would have been very tight. I hope you enjoyed that. I've quite enjoyed this team. It's got some good fun stuff going with it. Yeah. How's your season going? I mean, I'm back down. I've dropped sort of 500 rating, and I'm just climbing back up again. So hopefully we'll get back towards veteran and expert again someday soon. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a good day.